Hey, it's Soleil, and this is episode 249 of the Orange Pill Investor. And today I want to talk about how I am executing the MicroStrategy playbook in my own small way. MSTR, Michael Saylor is famously performing a speculative attack, which they're borrowing a weak currency and buying the hardest asset the world has ever known. And I decided several months back that I was going to do my best to operate the same strategy, uh, but I tweaked it a little bit. So instead of buying Bitcoin, I actually bought MicroStrategy, and I'll type it all up when I post it. But basically, I got a signature loan from my bank for 40K, and I was like, oh well, that was easy. So I got another one from another bank for 35K, and then that was working out pretty well. And MicroStrategy, I think, started to shit the bed, so it wasn't going great as far as my overall portfolio value. But I figured that was a good buying opportunity, so I got another 30 grand off of my HELOC, home equity line of credit. And then most recently, I just got approved for an $11,500 loan against my paid off SUV that I finally paid off like last year. So haven't had a car note for a while. That's nice. However, it's just equity laying around doing nothing. Uh, even if I even if I just bought Bitcoin and held it and didn't do anything with it, it's gone up. What it's like the cagr is like 40% or something. So as long as I borrowed under 40% and Bitcoin continued to perform, I should have been able to just take that 100 grand, buy Bitcoin with it, and then sit on my hands and do nothing. Maybe peel off like 0.05 Bitcoin a month to pay for the car loan, or to pay for the loans. But let's just take a look at what that looks like. So those payments all add up to 2 grand a month. And so if I went out earlier today, let's just make the math easy. At $200 a share, 100 grand would get you 500 shares, and 582 if I'm using the whole 116.5. So with 500 shares, I can sell weekly covered calls. Let's assume I have no income whatsoever, and I borrowed this money, but now I got now I have to pay the note on it. I could sell just over, if I sold 2 at the money covered calls, that would pay 1,800 of it. Or I could go up here, sell 5 covered calls. That covers the whole 2 grand for the month. And then I would have the unlimited upside for 3 out of the 4 weeks. At the money, I could sell 3 of them. I'd have upside on 2 of them all the time. And then for the other 3 weeks, I'd have unlimited upside on all 5. Going out to 42 days to expiration. I would normally do this on Tuesdays to get the exact 45. But I mean, I could sell 1.5 at 250. What, like two? There we go. I could sell 1 at 230. That pays for the services, the debt for the whole month just on one, and I could have unlimited upside on 400 shares forever, always, and then unlimited upside on this one. Well, I'm sorry, upside on this one would be capped. And then, you know, if I did have no job, I could just sell. I mean, hell, if I sold 5 of these, that's 10 grand. And on average, it's possible to roll this for half the profit every 2 to 3 weeks. So best case scenario, I'd really be making $1,000 a week off of each one. So 2,000 of that would pay off the loan. But that's a week. So, but that's pretty limited upside as well. Granted, the extra 82 shares would have unlimited upside. So really, if I just sold this on 2 of the 5 covered calls, that's about 1,000 a week. Worst case scenario, it would take 3 weeks to get that, but 3 weeks to get half. Well, not necessarily worst case scenario, worst best case scenario. And so even if I wanted to sell one getting 1,000 a week would service the debt plus an extra 2 grand. And so I could roll another one in there and get 4 grand a week. I mean, that's 200,000 a year. I could easily live off of that. So this is the type of shit that's making it very hard for me to not quit my job. And I was going a little overboard on this because I didn't really do this level of calculating. I just knew. I was just kind of ballparking it because I knew that the premiums I was going to get was going to more than pay for what I was borrowing and have some left over. So I was selling covered calls way too aggressively. I mean, with 2,000 shares, I was selling covered calls on all 2,000 of them, and I was limiting a bunch of my upside when MicroStrategy was ripping like this. I got kind of lucky because I only have 4 covered calls on right now. So I'm getting the upside in the majority of this rally right here. But I currently have 4 covered calls on. Got paid 1,100 for 2 of them and 700 for 2 more. So that's 3,600. So that's, divide that by 4 is about what I can get per week. So that's 900 a week-ish. So in 2 to 3 weeks, the covered calls on these 4 contracts basically pays the services the debt on over $100,000 worth of debt. So that's my version of the speculative attack, and it actually gets even a little bit more efficient because I bought some of these on margin. So that's an additional risk. And I guess I got to say, not financial advice, but this is my version of running the MicroStrategy playbook. And I will continue to run it through some portion of 2025 when the bull cycle may or may not end. And at that point, I know Michael Saylor's talking about he's going to buy the top forever, but I don't have the kind of financial manipulations available to me that he does. So all of the signature loans will be paid off in 2025. The HELOC will be paid off in 2025. I'll go ahead and pay off the car loan early, probably. That one's only 11 grand. I might not care. And then it's not that I'm going to be stockpiling cash for the next bear market because there's no guarantee that it'll come, but I won't have any margin risk. So I will eliminate all of my margin borrowing. And so if MicroStrategy pumps to 500 and then crashes to 250, it won't matter because I won't be at risk for a margin call at that point. All right. I think that's all I had. Be good, y'all.